Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and KISMA. I'm Nick, and today we are continuing our series on how to shape your reality by talking about how to rewrite your life script.
Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and KISMA, bringing you ancient wisdom for modern day success so that you can have the mindset to get your life and business set.
As always, thank you for tuning in. And if you're new to the podcast, take a quick second to hit the subscribe button in iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. If you want to get the inside info for this and every episode, as well as some free gifts, go to illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. And now let's dive in to get your mindset for your life and business set. Hello there, KISMA.
Well, hello there, Nick. What's going on?
Well, we got some new mics.
We have some new mics. What do you guys think? Tell us, email us, let us know, post on social media that you're listening to us and say we like your mics or we don't like your mics. Oh my gosh, I hope you like them.
I'm excited about it because I like new gear. It's cool.
I know.
It's cool to have new gear
along
to play
with all of the wires and all of the knobs and all of the lights happening in your office, but that's cool. That's cool. I can deal with it.
It's cool. I I was listening to the stream today. When you came in the office, did you notice I like the nature sound sometimes?
Yeah, you do like those birds and things.
Yeah. And I enjoy the little bit of white noise and that it kind of blends with what comes in through my window. And it's really kind of cool. Anyway, shaping reality.
I was just going to say, speaking of window and what's coming in, what month is this of the pandemic that we're in? 7 perhaps? But I
lost track.
I know it's been really challenging for so many people. So we are thinking of you all. One of the things that happens towards the end of this, which I'm just holding the space. Yeah, we are towards the end of this. But being in our homes, not socializing as usual, kids not going to school as usual, we're just really beginning to see the toll that it can take on mental and emotional and even physical health. So that's really part of the intention that we're bringing to our recent episodes is supporting, helping everyone to, as you've been listening to us, create your own reality, your own personal universe, and not feel like you've got to be in a web of negativity because you really don't.
Yeah. And when you look at rewriting your life script, that's kind of a big topic or big idea to begin with. It doesn't have to be I'm going to rewrite my whole life. I'm going to change everything. Sometimes it's just certain areas or smaller things that we see maybe getting caught in the mundane or stuck in a certain, way or a certain attitude or something like that you can rewrite,
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm big on mental health. I think it's super, super important. And
we're big on energy health.
Exactly. Yeah. And being able to shift that and shape that to suit our lives, and suit what we want in our lives is obviously really big about, what the whole podcast is about and all the work that we do in the world. So,
yeah. So I know you have some cool teachings around rewriting the script. And I agree with you that it is taking these pieces, right? So we're not here to say, all right, guys, sit down and rewrite your past, your present, your future. Well, you're always writing your future and even your present. But Nick, I think you're onto something where you're sometimes it's those small attitudes or those thoughts or those beliefs that are stories running and create a very strong mental thought flow. And before you know it, that's creating an attitude and a habit and a way of being that just keeps people in a karmic loop.
It's like running a script. We wake up around a certain time. We do these certain things every day. And some of those things are probably healthy. And some of those things maybe not so much, or maybe our script is pretty erratic. You're on fire one day, and then the next day it's just down in the depths. And so the broader script becomes one of a roller coaster, lots of drama, which is probably really fun for a reality show, but maybe you don't want to be living that in your life.
Right.
But when I think about a script, I also think about like a computer. Computer, it runs programs, right? And computers are modeled after the human mind. Like, let's try to figure out like step by step to make it do the things, right? Whether it's calculating things or, into really complex algorithms and things like that. It's kind of modeled after the human mind and decision making. And the mind is running programs.
Yeah.
So that's what the minds do. And I think you said it, I want to say in maybe the first episode, but you talked about like 90 some percent of our thoughts are the same
day to day.
Thoughts, yeah.
Yeah. Sort of these mundane, like, oh, I'm going to get out of bed. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to brush my teeth. I'm going to make like just this ongoing repetitive nature of thoughts.
Yeah. And that can be positive if it's, if those are good supportive thoughts. Things.
Yeah.
But even those positive things, it can be really hard to stay the track, and it can feel like labor intensive, like you're trying really hard to do all the things, and that in itself is a script, right? The attitude of it has to be hard. I have to try really, really hard to get things to happen.
Right.
Like that's a script in and of itself. Right.
True.
So when you look at rewriting the scripts, it doesn't have to be just what, right? It can be how, how you go about something, not necessarily, I don't mean like how like X, Y, Z, take the steps. I mean like how you go about it. Like what's your attitude? What's your internal disposition towards that? But it's a really powerful thing when you think about it.
Well, give us an example. What is a script in your life that you have rewritten?
Well, there have been so many. The one that always really stands out to me was the idea, like I always saw myself as a musician, and then I took on the role in administration for the Detroit Symphony. And I just kind of always saw myself in that, doing those things. And then it really just like kind of one day I decided, I think I want to not do this anymore. I want at the very minimum, I don't want to work this job anymore. Right. And so in a very deep way, what started to happen was a script for my life started to rewrite. Right. And the script about who and what I was, like, I didn't really have the greatest tools, I don't think, to deal with that. I had a lot of coping mechanisms. Some of them were healthy and some of them weren't. But I didn't have a lot of tools to navigate that so well. So it was really upsetting to me in my life because I was really looking at like, who am I? Like, if I'm not a musician, right? If this isn't part of my life anymore, or I'm not actively pursuing this in the same way, like, who am I now? Right. And so the script started to rewrite itself. And then I didn't have a job, right? I was, working for myself and freelancing and things like that. So I had to make another shift from, I'm an employee to, the first step for me was freelance, right? I'm freelancing or contracting, doing contract work. Okay, well, now nobody's telling me what to do. So I have to figure out how to make myself do the things that I need to do. Like, so it went through all these different iterations, but the script changed every step of the way. Another really big one for me was when I decided to go vegan.
Yeah.
Like meat eater. Up until one day. And then I decided I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to try something different. And I just kind of rewrote the script basically overnight.
Isn't it interesting how some scripts take time to rewrite? Sounds like our neighbors are having a party.
They might be.
They are not the hermits that we are. And some scripts are just almost instant.
Yeah.
It's like, and I imagine as with every decision, things are building up, or, we've called it forced renunciation. Like, you're dropping a lower desire for a higher. You're just like, okay, that's it. And it's sort of this miraculous shift. And I think it takes a great deal of acceptance for this new way of being, or there's just something that is compelling one. It's like, I want to be, do, or have that.
It's a really clear decision. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm talking to somebody and they say, I've decided,
Mm-hmm.
I start listening to them in a different way. Because it's not like, I've been thinking about, or I've been wondering, or,
I need to, or maybe.
or I really should.
I have to. Yeah,
exactly. But when they say I've decided,
that's a powerful word.
It really is. And there's something about the energy behind that that is really compelling. And so I start to listen to that person in a little bit different way of like, ooh, okay. They've owned something and they've decided something.
And what a great tool for us is we are rewriting scripts rather than say, oh, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to work on that. No, I have decided.
Yeah.
It is powerful. You can feel it in your body.
Yeah. And that was essentially it. Like I decided, I can tell you the exact moment that I decided I'm not working this job anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I was out of there in a few months. And I can tell you the exact moment that I decided, I'm not being a part of consuming meat any longer, and
you were done.
That was it. I was done. Well, that's not entirely fair. I've gone back I've been in and out of that. I'm not strictly vegan. Like I'll have some cheese here and there. I'll have some butter, but I'm definitely not eating any meat or anything like that, or fish. It's
just our choice. We're not saying to do it or not to do it.
I just decided it was not right for me anymore.
Right.
And it was a really strong, clear decision. And it was not a difficult decision. And I've been through many periods in my life where I just decide.
Right.
Like that's how I kind of learned that, like the addictive quality of my mind, because I could decide to not do certain things. Like I had enough, of doing whatever that thing was, too much TV or too much drinking or whatever the thing was. But then my mind would find something else to attach to. And that's how I kind of started to understand the nature of like my own nature with that kind of addictive quality. But it was always preempted by a decision. I decided like, no, because it wasn't super hard for me to give up alcohol. That was, if that was really a true addiction to that, like that's a little bit of a different thing, but for me, it was just like, no, I just decided I'm not going to do that. And then I would go and, the addiction would, because the addiction itself wasn't getting solved. The pattern wasn't, but it was the decisions that allowed me to shift, which gave me a certain amount of at least control over that, to choose things that were less destructive.
Well, I would like to look at rewriting the script that runs the attitude script in people.
Ooh, that's a good one. The attitude script.
Because, I'm such a firm believer that if we're willing to shift our attitude, it sounds so like, oh, didn't your mom tell you that? Change your attitude, shape up your attitude. Yet honestly, attitude as this essence feeling that is definitely connected to your energy, that is connected to your thoughts, that is then connected to the world that you're producing around you. Like attitude is a real deal. And if we can, when we rewrite the attitude script, it means the actions that follow will have a new essence. It means the words coming out of our mouth are going to have a new essence.
Yeah.
It means everything following is going to be different because the attitude script is different.
Yeah. And you're speaking to the heart of what I was just talking about too, is like I could change my behavior, right? I could just make a decision and change behavior, but my attitude, I was having a lot of more difficult time with my attitude. And it's more subtle. It really is. And lots of times I think we overlook it, either one, because we're just so used to the chatter in our head that we just, don't pay attention to it as much. Or two is because, it's sort of like it hangs out on the inside and we don't give it the same attention or care that we do to things on the outside. Like, okay, people can't see or read our thoughts. All right. So they don't know, like it's okay if I just keep it tucked away back there, but it affects our attitude, just like you said.
Absolutely. The intangible.
Yeah. So rewriting the script, I don't recommend, I can say right off the bat, I don't recommend like trying to just suddenly be a happy Pollyanna person. Like if you don't roll that way,
right?
Yeah,
it's inauthentic.
It can be really inauthentic. A big part of it, I think, is being in tune with your truest nature. certain people are a little more serious,
Mm-hmm.
right? In the way that they look at the world. Some people look at the world and see what's not working first in general. Some people look at it and are like super optimistic, or they see what is working.
Mm-hmm.
Certain people take a long time with their thoughts and a lot of care with that.
Slower
Other people,
processor.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Other people are just like boom,
Mm-hmm.
like really, really fast. Some people don't think at all, and they just dive into the action. Like that's their bent. But it is, when you look at the attitude behind it, understanding like what your nature is, like how do you go about it, seeing and relating to the world and relating to yourself, so that you can get to a truer version of that. Right? In personal development, there's a tendency to look at all the things that are broken and try to fix them.
Oh man, and sit on those things and process those things and go through them again and again. I'm just like, guys, move on.
Yeah. Decide.
This is where rewrite the script, because honestly, just a little sidebar, we could process for the rest of our lives all the stuff that hasn't worked since before we were born. And now, and that puts so much energy onto what isn't working that can actually inflate in and of itself.
Right.
So rewriting the script, I feel like brings us back into, well, let's find the solution. If something has happened in your life, if you're feeling a certain way, if you're experiencing something you don't want to experience, the opposite of that exists. But we're going to have to do a little, change of what the thought flow is, the attitude, the perception, in order to get from A to B.
Right. And it's essentially deciding who and how you want to be. Right. Really important. And that's why I think like knowing who you are, like having a glimpse into who you really are is really, really, really important. Right. Because otherwise we'll decide things like we'll see some, somebody's out there like really crushing it, and they're like a action machine, and, we see their success and we think, okay, well, I gotta make success the way that they make success.
It's inauthentic.
And so you adopt a new script, but it's not your script, right?
Right.
That's the whole thing. Like when I dropped into that space of I'm leaving this job, like I knew that was really true for me. Like I knew I was not like a hourly worker or wage worker kind of person doing this kind of work. I knew that there was something more for me.
Right.
And so it was really, really true and authentic. Where I got twisted up was how I went about it. That was the biggest thing, is choosing a path there that was really congruent with who I am.
Yeah. Right.
So it's choosing what's right for you, but also choosing a way forward that is in line with you. That's that internal subtle shift that you're talking about. And the attitude towards it is letting yourself be yourself. Essentially like a big old permission slip that says it's totally okay for me to be who I am and to choose something different.
Right. And I think that's, for our listeners, some tips that you can really start to implement right now. Let go of what people think.
Yeah.
Let go of caring what people think. I forget who has this quote. It's from a while ago, but the only problem that you have with the way someone thinks about you is that the way you think about them thinking about you. Like at the end of the day, it's not, you can't, like whatever they're thinking, but it's how you're perceiving it. That is really the problem. Let go of that. Life is too short. And if you want to embody your own authentic being and script and life and purpose, it can't be tethered to what other people are thinking. Of course, you're going to borrow intellects. You might need mentorship or coaching or guidance or spiritual teaching. But that alignment of head and heart, Nick, that you talk about, I feel is really important.
Yeah, that's absolutely key. And you can't have that if you don't have an idea about who you are on the inside without all of the labels and all of the things that we've adopted.
So for kind of a tool and to do and navigating this, what I suggest for our listeners, if there's something in your life that you're experiencing and you don't want to experience it, write it down. So let's say that, someone is waking up and feeling very fatigued, or agitated or anxious, like write those things down. And then next to it, write down the exact opposite of that feeling. Fatigued, you're energized. Anxious, you're calm or at peace, etc. And then in between is sort of this beautiful space where you can begin to look at what are the mental stories that I'm feeding into and regurgitating that feed into the negative aspect or the fatigue, the anxiety, etc.
That's the script, by the way.
That's the script. That's the script that we want to purge. And then we want to rewrite a script that supports the way that you want to be.
Exactly. That's really beautifully put. Right. Think about the computer program. Okay. So the app does a certain thing. It helps you go from point A to point B in whatever way that it does, and that's the same way, like that space in between that KISMA is describing is that is the script that takes you from point A to point B. So like the saying goes, you can't create, a positive life with a negative attitude. Right? It just doesn't work. It's like, I don't know. It's like trying to, run super duper computer programs on your little laptop,
Right.
It just doesn't work. You don't have the processing power for it. It just doesn't line up. Same way, like that's the script. I think about it kind of creatively. Like that's such a simple way to put it. As you look at rewriting that, like what would you rewrite? Like, how would you rewrite it? If it was a character in a book, like how would you write that? If it were a friend that you were talking to that you really wanted to help, what are the things that you would tell that person in the most loving way possible to help them step more into who they are and to be more congruent with what they say they want in their lives?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to look at it, and then do it for you.
Do it for you.
Because the script that you're hearing, the script that you're running is the thing that's keeping you in this karmic loop of the same. And this is where it can get frustrating for people where they don't have that quantum leap or that breakthrough or that increase of confidence. They're trained to think everything I see in front of me is all that is, which is completely untrue. Or tomorrow will only be as successful as today. No, it can be so much more. My relationship will only get so good. It can be so much more, but we've got to rewrite that. And a lot of it will start with deciding how you want to feel, what you want to experience, and writing that as an I am capable of, or this is my decision for today. I don't know if you have any other choices on exactly how to write, but I can see those words being very powerful.
One of my favorites is actually, I just might be able to.
I just might be able to have a really great day and create success. I just might be able to connect more with my team, etc.
Things just might be able to get better and better, right? Rather than waiting for the other shoe to drop, things might just be able to get better and better.
That's a good one.
So you can kind of play around with it in that way, in a creative way. And explore, what that script, because the scripts are basically what you're living out in your life.
Exactly.
And rewriting that will definitely rewrite your results. So it's kind of an exciting thing to play around with that is really and truly like puts you in the driver's seat every step of the way.
There's one really simple I'll share with everyone before we go is I'm going to be okay. It's going to be okay. When you're in a state of, like really rough, it's like, no, it's going to be okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Like sometimes we have to tell ourselves that, and the whole, sympathetic nervous system calms down. You start to hear, you start to feel, and then you start to exude.
Yeah. Really good one for when things are spinning out,
right?
Feeling out of control. Yeah. That's a really good one for that.
Yeah.
Gets our feet on the ground.
So I love this. In essence, rewrite the script, the story that's floating in your head. Another little tip, everyone, is where are you running mental stories about other people in your life that you're not sure are true? Because that becomes part of your script, right? If you're running mental stories and beliefs about people, and you're not really sure it's true, but they're in your life, it's infiltrating your script. So you want to, if you're not sure what someone's thinking, saying, or doing because you haven't had a conversation, move them out and rewrite your script. How do you want to feel? Who do you want to be? What do you want to create in life?
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect.
And make it as authentic as possible.
I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that one in the next episode.
Okay.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for
share Illumination Podcast with Nick and KISMA. Give us a little rate, review, stars, hearts, whatever, all that is.
Yeah, it's cool too. If you can, find the episode, if you ever find the episode on our website, we have like little comments below and stuff. It's always cool to see your comments there. Those go right to my inbox, by the way. I get to like write back and
illuminationpodcast.com.
That's right. Yeah, we finally own the URL. Like for years we forgot to buy that, but now it's there, and that you can illuminationpodcast.com. Go and leave us a comment, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, sending you love, light, and power.
Namaste.
Peace.
Thanks for jamming with us today. And if you enjoy Illumination Podcast, please go ahead and share it with someone you love. Give us a rating, review, download our podcast. And remember, you can find us at illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. Talk to you soon. Namaste.